Greetings from Globe, Arizona. On today's adventure, we decided to kind of do an impromptu stop at a historic graveyard here, the Globe Cemetery. So we were exploring some other things around Globe today, and we came across some information about the Globe Cemetery, and they had some information about individuals buried here and other historical figures. And right there, they actually have some really clear signage to the ones that we read about. So Amy and I are kind of teaming up here. She's out exploring the cemetery. This place is extensive, so she's scouting out, looking for some of the historical graves, texting me when she finds something, and I'm kind of keeping an eye out too. This place is enormous. I didn't expect it to be this big. It's really an interesting cemetery too, just the way it's tiered off, and you've got all these concrete walls kind of built into the hillside here. Okay, and there you go. See that white sign over there? I'm thinking that they point out graves of interest here, so I'm gonna go see what that's all about really quick. So this is Judge Aaron Hackney, which is one of the names that we read about. Founder and editor of the Arizona Silver Belt, 1878 to 1898. And there it is, Aaron Harrison Hackney, born October 31st of 1815 and died in 1899. Yeah, and here's another old one. This is a beautiful monument. Anna J. Driver, born December of 1859 and died in 1889. I mean, all around you, I mean, most of these folks were born in the 1800s and died in the early 1900s or late 1800s, it appears. It's so interesting to see that most of these people lived in Arizona before it was even an official state, especially down in this section. This is the first person buried in this cemetery. Thomas Hammond. He was a prospector in this area, killed by Apaches. You know, I kind of thought coming here, oh, this would be a quick stop. We might get a 5-minute video out of this. I could probably spend a full day in here, to be honest. There's a lot to seek out and see. And here's another one of the ones that's pointed out with a special sign. John H. Thompson. He was the Gila County Sheriff for 8 terms, from 1890 to 1912, when Arizona got its statehood. Coming over here, I see more of those white signs. Got one over here and one over here. Wow. So this is Glenn Reynolds. He spells his name just like I do. Gila County Sheriff, killed in the line of duty by Apaches in 1889. Wow, that headstone has really seen a lot, I think. But you can still make it out right there. Glenn Reynolds, killed by the Apache Indians. You know, it's just so crazy to think. I mean, that wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things. And there you go. That's more evidence that we find on our journeys of just kind of the lawlessness of those times. I mean, you see a lot of that kind of stuff out here in the Southwest. Okay, I see another one. Robert S. Knowles. We'll make our way out to this one. It says he was a scout for Al Sieber and a friend of the Apache Kid. And there he is, Robert S. Knowles. He died in 1937, it looks like. All right, we found another one of the historical graves that are worthy of note. Al Sieber died in 1907 and was born in 1844. His headstone is here. Erected by the Territory of Arizona in 1907, he died before Arizona was even a state, as did a lot of the people here. Arizona became a state, I believe, in 1912, if I'm not mistaken. And this guy, Frank A. Nash, died in 1912, the year that Arizona did become a state. Buried right next to Al Sieber. So yeah, this is a pretty tragic one here. This one's very sad. You've got a father, David Heron, the mother, Villie Faye Heron, and then there are 3 children here in the middle. Now the parents died, it looks like, both in 1945, which is interesting. The children also died days apart. They died in 1895, December 19th, December 20th, and December 21st. And that was 5 years old, 3 years old, and 1 year old. I'm assuming they all died of disease, which, you know, during those days that wasn't uncommon at all. Yeah, another interesting one where you've got a family buried here, and you can see many of them died in 1886, so presumably of illness or sickness, I'm going to guess. This is a strange one. Someone cut out the year, or part of the year here, it looks like. Died in 1890, but born in 18 something, we don't know. I mean, just look at this place. I'm kind of scanning over there, and I could be mistaken, but I think there's more going up on top of that hill over there. So the higher up I go, the windier it gets, and I apologize for any audio problems today. This whole hillside's exposed and it is windy. I saw Amy coming back on the way down. She mentioned that the further up you go, the newer it seems. So she saw graves from the 2000s. You see graves from all sorts of different times up here, but they tend to be newer, I would say, than what we were seeing down there. If you're looking for the older sections though, I mean, the advice I can give you, and it's not to do any injustice to the folks up here, but most of the older stuff and historical stuff seems to be more towards the bottom. You know, something that I don't think people want to think about too much, but you know, a lot of these recent graves from the 2000s, the 90s, lots of flowers. You can tell people have been visiting here, remembering their loved ones. And then you head down further and you start to see less flowers. The dates get older on the graves, and those people have just been forgotten. And I think that's just the way it is, you know? For most of us common folks that aren't gonna be in the history books, eventually your name, if you get a headstone or an epitaph, it won't be readable one day. And eventually nobody will know who you are. Okay, so this is kind of interesting here. I'm gonna show you something. We've got these big concrete crypts here, and both of these have holes in them. I don't see anything but just dirt down there. I notice a lot of these concrete structures have seen the test of time. A lot of these are caving in. Yeah, here's another one of those that just kind of collapsed in on itself. Born in 1886 and died November 4th of 1918. All right, so if you like graveyards, I think you're gonna like this place. If you like history, maybe you're more of a buff than I am and are more familiar with some of the folks buried here, you'll enjoy it. If you like the Old West, you'll see a couple people killed by Apaches, you know, things like that. So if you're in Globe and you have some time to spare, definitely come check this place out. Whoa, that was a gunshot. If you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And look us up on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.